Now, the BBC News at 1 with Jane Hill.
Today at 1, Donald Trump says he will appeal after the historic guilty verdicts in his trial for falsifying business records. The former US president tells supporters he didn't get a fair trial.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
I'm live outside of Trump Tower, where Donald Trump will give his first news conference since becoming a convicted felon.
Also today, a new cancer treatment. The first people take part in trials of a vaccine designed to stop the disease coming back.
If it's successful, then it's a medical breakthrough.
Another Russian strike on Ukraine's second city, Kharkiv, leaves at least 5 people dead. And special treatment for the first hippo born in the UK for 7 years.
On BBC London, hundreds of households in Surrey are told not to drink their tap water over fears it's contaminated. And D-Day stories we hear from 2 Londoners joining the 80th anniversary commemorations.
Hello and welcome to the BBC News at 1. Donald Trump has said he will appeal after becoming the first serving or former US president to be convicted of a crime. He was found guilty last night on all 34 counts of falsifying business records, only months before the election which could see him return to the White House. He is still allowed to run for office, even with a criminal conviction. Donald Trump claimed his trial was rigged. He'll be sentenced in July. Our North America correspondent John Sudworth has the latest from New York. And our North America correspondent Neda Tawfik is in New York and has been following the trial throughout. What's the reaction there, Neda, as America wakes up today? Thanks, Neda. Neda Tawfik there in New York. Thousands of NHS cancer patients across England are going to be invited to take part in trials of new personalised vaccines in what's being described as a landmark moment in cancer treatment. The vaccines are designed to prime the immune system to recognise and then destroy any remaining cancer cells after surgery, and so reduce the risk of the disease recurring. Our medical editor Fergus Walsh has the story. People in more than 600 homes in Surrey have been warned not to drink their tap water after tests carried out following a historic fuel leak. Thames Water said it was issuing the advice as a precaution. Let's get the latest from our correspondent Frankie McCamley, who's in Bramley this lunchtime. So what are people being told, Frankie? All right, Frankie, thank you, Frankie McCamley. In Ukraine, 5 people have been killed in an overnight strike on the country's second largest city, Kharkiv. Germany has now joined the US in giving Ukraine permission to use weapons supplied to the country to strike some military targets inside Russia. That relaxation of restrictions are to defend the Kharkiv region, which has come under increasing pressure from Russian forces just over the border in the last few weeks. Jean McKenzie sent this report from the capital, Kyiv. US and British armed forces have carried out a wave of airstrikes against Houthi targets in Yemen in response to attacks on international shipping in the Red Sea. Houthi media has reported that 16 people were killed overnight and more than 35 injured. Our diplomatic correspondent James Landale is with me. What more do we know, James? All right, James, for now, thank you very much. James Landale. And the time is just after 1:15. Our top story this afternoon. Donald Trump says he will appeal after becoming the first serving or former US president to be convicted of a crime. He was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records. Still to come, scientists have discovered what they believe is the earliest and most distant galaxy ever observed.
And on BBC London, the changing face of netball, how bigger crowds and bigger salaries are now the aim of the game. Plus, what does the weekend weather have in store for us all? We'll have a full forecast in the programme in 15 minutes' time.
Now we turn to the election campaign, and all the party leaders are out and about, just over a week into the campaign for July's vote. We're going to be hearing from our teams travelling with all the major parties. Let's start with the Conservatives. They've unveiled plans to punish fly tippers in England by adding points to driving licences. They also say they want to evict disruptive tenants from social housing. Rishi Sunak will be in the northwest of England later. Let's join our correspondent, Jess Parker, who is on the Conservatives' campaign bus, travelling around. Clearly not on it right now. Explain where you are, Jess, and what's happening. Now, to some news that's been coming through over the last hour from Germany. Police say an attacker has stabbed and injured several people at a right-wing demonstration before being shot and injured. It happened in a market square in the southwestern city of Mannheim. Let's find out more from our security correspondent, Frank Gardner. What do we know, Frank? All right, Frank, thank you, Frank Gardner. Slovakia's Prime Minister has been moved out of hospital 2 weeks after he was seriously wounded in a shooting. Robert Fico was left fighting for his life after being shot 4 times at close range in the town of Handlover as he greeted supporters at the end of a government meeting. The 59-year-old has undergone a number of operations and is now at home having nursing care at home. Now, the first hippo to be born in the UK for 7 years is getting VIP treatment at a zoo in North Yorkshire. The calf, called Aurora, had a bumpy start when staff became worried that her mother wasn't feeding her. Hannah Gray has been to see Aurora and hear about her progress. Oh, terrific. Now, scientists have discovered what they believe is the earliest and most distant galaxy ever observed using NASA's powerful James Webb Telescope. This image, released by NASA, shows the collection of stars as it was 290 million years after the Big Bang. They're hoping the discovery will improve understanding of the origin of the universe. That takes us to a look at the weather prospects suitably. Here's Darren Bett. Hello, Darren.
Hello, Jane. I'm going to stick to our planet and the tiny little bit of it that we're on, and we've got some much needed drier weather on the way in southern England. Jane.
Darren, thank you very much. That is the BBC News at 1 for this week. And indeed, that is it from the News at 1 here in London. After more than 37 years, you may know the programme is moving to a new home from Monday. So do join the team in Salford from Monday if you possibly can. From everybody here on the 1 o'clock news team in London, it has been an absolute pleasure and a privilege. So thank you for watching every lunchtime. Right now, here on BBC One, it is time, of course, for the news wherever you are. Enjoy your afternoon. And from the London team, it's goodbye.
Welcome to BBC London. More now on Thames Water asking more than 600 households in a Surrey village not to drink their tap water after tests raised concerns over its quality. Residents in Bramley near Guildford have been raising their concerns for years about a possible leak in their water supplies. Alan Sinclair has more.